just like very small map, very small environment. There is not much. So I use the rocks from Quixel Megascans, the trees, the rocks, everything. Except the water. But everything is from Megascan. Even the character. You can download lots of free characters from Unreal, from the Paragon collection. This one, they're pretty good because most of them are already rigged, and then some of them actually comes with example animations with some presets animations. So if you guys want to learn about characters or about animation, about control rig, you can actually download these characters because it's free and they come with sets of animation. So I mentioned that using directional lights only can set up the mood. I will show you. So we can make it look like, I'm not sure, is it sunset? It looks more like sunset. And then like 12 or 1 p.m. So it's really bright. So just by using the directional light, you can actually set the tone of the scene. It's okay. And then if you want to change it into night time, let's say, I usually do this. I usually just change the color of the directional light and then play around with the intensity. So it depends what kind of mood that I'm trying to create right now. So I also mentioned that if you guys play around with skylight, it won't affect the directional light. So you see my skylight here is white, and then if I change it to red, purple, it won't affect the sky. It won't affect the directional light. But everything on the ground, they will absorb the color that I change the skylight's color into. So green, I change it to yellow. I'm just gonna put it back on default. So I usually change the color of the skylight if I'm creating a cyberpunk scene, because cyberpunk scene needs lots of colors from the neon light, from the directional light, from the skylight, from all the colors. Usually cyberpunk needs more effort. But if you are creating an outdoor scene, it's usually easier because you can just play around with directional light. And then I also mentioned that if you want to create more dramatic look or mysterious look or any kind of tones that you are trying to make, you can play around with the lightings. This is the point light. You can use it to make it look like he is like a mysterious person or something. Or as if he's getting a splash from a lighting nearby. This one is better compared to this, because you can see there is a reflection on his suit as well, on his hair, on his hand, but the color of the point light doesn't match the color of the directional light. It doesn't match the color of the whole scene, although it's good. So I changed the color closer to the color of the scene. You can see the difference. This one is better because it gives more reflection. It gives more shiny effect to whatever he has on his body. Otherwise, it would be just like too dark. So let's try to create a level sequence. I actually have lots of level sequence already. Yes. Workshop. So I mentioned that the Paragon characters usually come with many animation. So if I just put it on the sequencer, you can see, wait, you can see it's already come with lots of animation here. So this is really nice if you guys just starting to learn. And there is also this one. There's also this one. If you, I'm not sure if you guys have tried this website or not.
Yeah, we did it, but
Oh yeah.
I did a mistake on importing them. So if you can show the right way, because I don't use a lot Mixamo, that would be amazing for students.
Okay, I will try. My internet is not pretty good. Okay, so let's say we want just this one. Okay, this one. When I will upload the character. One second, guys. It's easier if you use the character from Unreal, the mannequin, because if you download the animation from Mixamo and then export it to Unreal, they will match directly, so you guys don't have to do the retargeting again. So I usually just use the mannequin from Unreal so that I would get the animation directly. And then when we want to download it, I normally use 24 frames per second, even on my scene. I usually use 24 FPS. So just change this one. But it depends if you guys want the 30 frames per second or 60, but I normally use 24. And then this one, you don't have to change anything. And then download it. And then just drag it. It's okay. And then import. I'm not sure if this is gonna work or not because this character already comes with animations and it's already rigged. So I'm not sure if it's gonna work or not with the Mixamo, but I will also try. It's loading. So you can see the character that I retarget into, they will have the same animation with the animation from Mixamo. Then I will just, okay. So when you export it to Unreal, there will be four types. So there will be skeletal mesh, animation sequence, physics asset, and skeleton. You press the animation sequence and then right click and then retarget animation. And then on the target skeletal mesh, you search the character that you want to retarget into. And then double click the animation to see if the animation is already correct or not. Because sometimes if you have exporting a few animations or a couple animations, there will be stacked here. So just to make sure that this is the animation that you want to export, then export animation. And then whichever folder you want to put into, I will just put it in the animation. And then export. Now I will have the animation. So the name was shoved reaction with spin. I will search it here. Shoved reaction with spin. Now I have this animation from Mixamo. I haven't created a camera yet. I'm just gonna show some animations first, and then some tips and tricks in the sequencer. If you right click on the animation, if you don't like the speed of the animation, you can right click and then search properties, and then you will see there is a play rate here. The default is 1. But if you want to make it a bit slower, let's say half of it, just type 0.5. And then you will see the animation is become longer. And then if you play it, it will become slower. So if you want to create slow motion scenes, or if you download something but it's too fast, you can change it here on the properties. Change the play rate. But this is too slow. See, it's getting shorter again. And it's getting not too slow, but not too fast. And then we're done with this one. Let's say we want to create a control rig now of this character. If you download animation from Mixamo, you cannot change much because they already made the animation. It's already like a preset animation. So you cannot really make any changes, or you cannot really make any adjustments. But if you want something that you can adjust, you have to use a control rig or a manual animation, or you can actually download the animation from Mixamo and then add layers to your animation and then make the adjustment with control rig. So here on your content, right click and then go to animation. You go to control rig and then click this one. And then choose the modular rig, then create. And then just name it whatever you want. Workshop control rig. You go, let's say. And then open it. And then you will see this tab. And then on this tab, you would see a preview mesh. And then type the character that you want to create the control rig. And then you would get this. You would see, whenever you hover your mouse to, you would see the name of the spine where you have to put your spines, where you have to put the control rig for your shoulder, your feet, your arm. Just hover your mouse and then they would show you. So if you see this one, it says spine socket. So you drag the spine here, and then you will see more dots. And then when you hover here, you will see shoulder left, shoulder right. So you put your shoulder here. And then you put your shoulder here. And then you would get more dots here. Hand right, hand left. So you put your arm here. And then your arm here. And then you can see you will see this red circle and then this blue circle. That means the control rig is already there. And then this one, thigh left and then thigh right. So you put the, where is it? The leg. You put the leg on the right side and then leg on the left side. And then you see foot. Foot left and foot right. So this one. Put foot right and then put foot left. And then you would get this modular control rig. You can add more if you want to put fingers, but I'm not gonna do it because there will be 10 fingers. But yeah, if you want to have control of the fingers, you can just add this one. Where is it? Fingers. You just add on 10 fingers. And then hit compile and then save. And then I will drag it here. And then it will open a new sequencer tab. So we can move him here. We don't need him for now. It will be different if you are using the one with the control rig and the one without the control rig. You would have two different characters on the scene. So it depends. You have to decide you want to use the one with the control rig or not. Then let's say I will put him here. And then if you open this, you will see all the control rigs that you have placed on him. The body, hips, chest, foot, leg, upper arm, hand, everything. So all the control rig will be here. If you are using the one with control rig, you have to delete this one. Just delete this one. Delete the animation. Unless you want to add layers, then you can keep the animation section here. But otherwise, just delete it. And then press G. So many things around him. Okay, I will move him because I cannot see anything. There, okay. So if the control rig is already placed, you will see there will be red circle and blue circle and then yellow circle around him. So let's say I want to move his feet. I would click the red box. You guys can see the right foot?
Yes, yes.
Yes, okay. Because I think it's too dark.
You can go into unlit maybe so we can see.
Right. Is it better?
Yes, yes.
Or better this one?
I think this one, this one.
Right, okay, this one. Okay. So you click the red box here. See, it's moving. This is the control rig. So keyframe the first pose that you want. So this is the normal pose, let's say, the A pose, and then keyframe the foot, and then drag it here. You don't have to click anything. They would make the keyframe directly, and then drag it here, and then move it forward, and then drag it again, and then put the feet here. Okay, it's a bit flying, but you get my point. Like that. It takes a lot of time if you guys are using the control rig because you have to adjust it frame by frame. This is what the animator does. They do manual keyframe animation and it takes a lot of time. So that's why I'm not an animator because this would take a lot of my time. Like this. And then let's say the other one also. I'm not sure. But yeah, something like that. So you have to play around with the control rig and then also the arm. You can rotate it however you want. But once you're playing around with control rig, you have to have the sense of an animator. You have to know how our skeleton works. You have to know how our joints work. Otherwise, it will look weird. Let's say I move it like this. We don't move our joints like this or like this. Oh, okay. This is still normal. We can't do this, right? So we need to have the sense of, we have to have the animator sense. Sometimes when we don't know how our body works, how our joint works, we would just rotate everything and then it would become weird. So, for example, we don't see this one. See the hand? We don't move our hand like that. We cannot, unless we are an athlete or something, I'm not sure, but we cannot. So we have to pay attention on the movement of the joints, with the movement of the body parts. So congrats everyone who can animate because I cannot. So yeah. So that's control rig. I will delete the control rig, this one, because I want to create something more cinematic with him. But does anyone have any question about the control rig?
We have a question that says, Elena, is there a way to mix the ready animations from Mixamo with the control rig in order to modify these animations to our liking?
Oh yeah, right. Oh, okay, I will. I will put him back to the scene. On the animation, you can insert the animation from Mixamo, the one that we download, the shoved one. Wait, there is actually, but I forgot. I think it's add new section, no? So you need to add a layer, but it's actually possible. Bear with me, guys. It should be somewhere here. It should be at something. I will try it after this, and then I will tell Elena, and then when I found it, I will tell her, and then she can tell you afterwards.
Of course, of course. Yeah, animation, as you can understand, it's a huge and big issue for everyone, not only me.
Because I did that a few times before, but because I haven't done that in a while, so I forgot how. But it's normally here, and then you right click, and then on the add section, it's called add additive. But the add additive is not showing up right now, so that's why I'm confused. It's usually add additive. So you add an additive layer. So there will be another layer here on top of the animation. It's usually green layers. And then you can, let's say on this side of on this frame, you want to make his head turn right or turn left, and then you can adjust it without impacting the other animation. So yeah, it's called additive, or maybe if you can Google it later, it's just an additive. The keyword is add additive layer to animation in sequencer. But I'm so sorry, I forgot.
No worries, it's fine. It happens to everyone. I forget also the type things in the engine.
So
I
many
forget.
things.
Yeah, the engine has so many things, and we tend to forget them. It's very ordinary. I have forget a lot of things during classes, and students can confirm that.
Yes.
But don't worry.
So sorry, guys. I let you guys down.
No, 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 no
Okay.
worries. You're not letting anyone down.
Okay, this one is brighter. Okay, I'm gonna make camera right now. So we already export the Mixamo animation, and then we also already created the control rig, and then now camera. So on this three, I'm not sure if you guys using the version 5.4 or 0.5 or 0.6, but I'm using the 5.4, sometimes 5.5. It depends on the project, but I actually haven't tried the 5.6 yet. There are lots of differences, especially on the MetaHuman side. And then they said that the graphic is so much better than 5.5, but I haven't tried it yet because all of my projects are in 5.4 and 5.5. So it's a bit risky for me to export everything to 5.6. So I'll just stick around with the 0.5 and 0.5, 0.4 and 0.5. So on this three, there are the three lines over here. And then you create the camera, CineCamera Actor as like normal, and then just drag it here. And then the default camera would be 11.88. You can change it to, sorry, you can change it to 35. 24. Normally, if you want to get a wide shot, it's normally 16. And then 24, 35, 50, 85, 120. But normally, if you want to take a master shot, you use 35. These are different types of different size of lens. And then once you get the size of lens that you want, you can play around with the focus. There is a like the peak point here. And then you can just put it anywhere you want the focus to be. See, you can see the focus is changing. But if you still cannot get the right focus that you want, you can turn this on. And then you will see there is a purple thing behind him. If you want the focus on him, then just drag the purple thing to the back and as close as you could to his face. And then turn it off. So you can see the focus is on him right now. The background is blur, and also because I have some smoke at the back, but the focus is now on him. And this is what some people usually forget to use. Unreal already provide us with this one, composition overlay. So we can know where we should put our object on. Is it in the middle or on the right side or like this or like this? It depends on the composition that you are trying to achieve. Or if the 3x3 grid is not, you don't really like it, you can change it to 2.2 grid or crosshair. If you've worked with camera lots, you would already be familiar with crosshair. And also this one, I'm not sure about this one, but I usually use this one. And you can also add the action safe. You know, Instagram usually change their size. So you can also, or if you want to use the 16 times 9 or 9 times 16. So it depends. You can change the action safe, whatever you want. So you would know that if you post this on social media, let's say, or if you use it for movie, or if you want to put it in a poster, you would know that you have this much of action safe. So it depends on the media. Is it better to animate the key pose first and then do it in between? I normally, oh, sorry. I will come back to the grid after this, but normally I try to search for the animation that I want to use on Mixamo. And then when I already have the animation, I already have the idea of which part that I want to adjust. So I don't have to animate. So I don't have to animate that much because I already have the whole animation and I just do a little bit of adjustment. Right, okay. So I normally don't use this one. I'll go back to this one. You can use this one and this one. It depends which you want to use. And then you can also use the letterbox. It's usually used in editing. Let's say you want to post it on your Instagram. I'm not sure about the measurement right now, but we can always change it. Maybe like this. So you will know that when you render it, this size is, this one is the size that you would see on your Instagram. Or like this. So it depends on your preference. But I normally use the grid 3x3 just to make sure where he is. And then after you put the camera, you put the character because we want to animate the character. I would add the show animation, the one that we download from Mixamo. This one. Okay. Change the FPS to 24. So the camera will start here. Keyframe on the transform. If you guys are comfortable with using one viewport, it's okay. But I usually work with 2 viewports. I normally work with 2 viewports because I don't like my main viewport getting changed accidentally. So I normally use 2 viewports. And then this is the camera that I use. The keyframe starts here. And then once he walks forward, I will move the camera backwards. So it's like the camera is following him backwards. And then go forward a bit. And then like this. Let's say, for an example, like that. Okay, but the focus keeps changing because he's moving forward and backward and he's moving around. So you guys can also see that the focus keeps changing. So I normally keyframe the focus as well. So here, over here, this is the keyframe button for focus. This one you can see the keyframe appears here. And then when he's moving forward and then turn around, and then I'll keyframe the focus as well over here. And then here. I normally drag the focus closer to me first to see where the focus is, and then drag it again. And with this one as well. And this one. Okay, so if you've finished, just turn it off again. And then we'll see the focus now is always on him. And then you could see the background is blur all the time because it's at the back. I didn't put any focus on the background. And if you see there is an aperture here, the default is 2.8. If you go bigger, then the background would get more focus. Let's try. I change it to 10. See, it's getting crispier, it's getting more focus. And then I change it to 20. It will be the same focus with the object. But if I turn it back to 2.8, see, it's a bit blur. So in cinematics, we usually blur the background. We don't usually use the same focus within the foreground, midground, or background. Usually foreground and background are a bit blurred compared to the object in the midground. So 5 is still fine, but I would use 2.8. I would just use the default. This one. And don't forget to save, because sometimes your PC can let you down. This one. There is one more important thing in creating a cinematics. I mentioned that when we are doing a control rig, we need to have a sense of animator. We need to have a sense of how our body joints move. This is also the same with creating camera. We need to have a sense of the DOP. Otherwise, all of our camera movement would be boring or static, or it would look stiff, because we don't have that sense. We don't have that hands of people who normally works with camera. See, this camera movement is pretty boring, because I'm not a person who usually works with normal camera, but I know how to work it out, because I've practiced for my whole year working with Unreal. There is this thing called 1 second. Where is it again? Wait. Oh, now I remember. Create a blueprint. So on your content, create a blueprint class, and then search for camera shake base. This one. And then select. And then I would make cam workshop 2 2. Okay, because if it's too long, it won't work. Change this one to Perlin noise. And then open the location, rotation, and timing. You can play around with, it's here. You can play around with the location amplitude or the location frequency. We will see the difference. And then play around with the rotation. And then for the duration, make sure you change it into 0. Because if it's 1, then it would only last for a second or something. But if you want it to be infinite, don't forget to change it to 0. So I'll change it to 0 now. And then I'll compile, and then I'll save it. And then here on your sequencer, on the camera, click the track, and then cam shake, and then add the blueprint that we just made. You would see here, this is too big. You would see here the cam shake blueprint that we just made. And then I'll play it. See, it's very shaky because I put it on 2. And it's kind of giving me headache if it's moving too fast. So I'll just change it back to 1.2, let's say. And then this is 1 point. You have to play around because it depends on your preferences. If you want to create something like action movie with lots of movements, then make it higher. But if you want to just like really slow camera movement, like let's say you are hiding behind the bushes or hiding behind the trees or something like that, and then we don't have to make it too high. So I'll just change it to 1.2 and then we'll see. It's getting better. See, it's getting better. Also, this is also another preferences. With the camera keyframes that we just made, I normally change it to linear. I don't usually use cubic unless I need something. So if you use the cubic ones, you would have some sort of like a warming up in the beginning. So it will move slowly in the beginning, and then once it's already reached certain speed, then it would become the same until the end. But if you want the speed to be the same from beginning to the end, you just change it to linear. So I would change it to linear. You would see the difference. That's linear. And then you will see if I change it back to cubic, there would be like some sort of warming up in the beginning. So the camera would move a bit slower in the beginning. I'm not sure if you guys can see or not, but you guys can try it for yourself. I normally change it to linear. So we would have something like this. Okay, I'll just keep it 1.2 for the camera shake. Okay, so we already have one. We have one camera cuts. I'll make another one, but right now, for now, I'm gonna use the camera rig rail. I'm trying to put so much information within 1.5 hours. I'm not sure if you guys can get all of the information or not, but if you guys can really absorb all the information, you guys can just remember all the keywords and then can watch it later on YouTube or just Google it. So you can go on the property. Oh, not property, sorry, on the place actors, and then search for camera rig rail. This one. Okay, we cannot see the camera rig rail now. Press G. And where is it? Why is it so far? So many cameras around him. It's like paparazzi. Okay, camera rig rail. If we want to rotate it, you can rotate it freely, but if you want to rotate it by degrees, then you can turn it on. I usually turn it on because I want everything to be precise. Or maybe okay, this one. So many cameras. 1 second, guys. I will delete all these paparazzi cameras. Okay. So this is if you guys have watched a BTS of movie production, or if you guys have ever been in the movie production, you would see something like a rig on the floor. They usually put it on the floor and then they put a camera on top of it. They also have the same in Unreal. It's called camera rig rail. I'll just put it somewhere here, let's say. And then we have to create another camera, another CineCamera. This one, CineCamera 27. Sorry. And then this is camera rig rail 3. So you drag this camera, so it would become So the camera rail would become the parent of the camera. It's already parent to the camera rail, but I'm not sure where the camera is. Oh, there it is. Change the rotation to 0 and then place the camera on top of the rig rail, just as the real camera rig rail and camera in movie production. So we put it on top. But because I want the camera to face towards the character, so I will rotate it 90 degrees. And then I will put it here, facing towards him. It doesn't have to be precise as long as it's placed on top of it. Okay, so now whenever I move the rig rail, the camera would just follow. This is also another unimportant thing. Okay, so I will move the camera rig rail here. So we would have more space. And then you will see there's a white dot over here. This one, if you press it and then you drag it, you would have more rig rail. Like this. And if you want to make it, if you want to bend it, then you press Alt and then you drag like this, like that. This. Hey, I will use this one. You can bend it, but this is not long enough, so I will make it longer a bit, and then press Alt and bend it, and then where should I go? Maybe make it longer. Like this, and then why do they keep moving around in a weird way? Okay, just bend it. Maybe it was not long enough. Yeah, right. And then press Alt so we can bend it. Okay, so if we see the camera rig rail, if you want to see how the camera moves, there is this one, current position on rail. You have to click the camera rig rail, not the camera, and then you would see the current position on rail here. The default is 0, but if you drag it, then you will see the camera is moving. I don't know why the camera is going down. Wait, I'll move it. Okay. So if you drag it, you will see on this small window, you will see the camera is moving, but the camera is moving facing forward. See? But if I want the camera to move following the movement of the camera, then you have to turn this on. You have to take this lock orientation to rail. Click this one. And then you would see the camera would move like the rail. Like it would follow the shape of the rail. This one is also, why is it going down? Yeah. Okay. So see, now the camera is moving, not circular, but like 90 degrees, right? I think it's not precise, but it's okay. Now, when you are finished with playing around with the camera rail, click the camera rail, and the camera that you parent it with, drag it to the sequencer. Okay. After you drag it to the sequencer, when you click play, you won't see anything. You won't see the camera moves. What you need to do is you click the track button on the camera rig rail, and then click the current position on rail. And then on the current position on rail, sorry, you have to put it back to 0. See, it's on 0. And then you keyframe it, and then you drag this slider all the way to the end, and then you drag it until the end, let's say. And then when you press play, you would see the camera is moving. But I'm not following the character, so I think I need to move it. So I think I need to move it a bit further. Maybe like this. Like that. Okay. Okay. So now when you press play, you will see it's sort of circling the character. Although it's not perfect, because it needs time. You need to adjust the keyframe, you need to adjust the dots on the rail, but it's like that. Okay, wait, I don't like the end because it's not in the middle. Maybe this one is better. Okay, if it's too fast or if it's too slow, you just have to play around with the rail. It depends if you want a slow movement or a fast movement, just play around with it. And we can also slow down the animation a bit. You can change the play rate if we want. But you see, the animation is getting slower, but the camera movement is still with the same speed. So what we can do is we click add over here and then click the time dilation track. The default, the normal speed of this sequencer is 1. But we can change it to match the speed of the animation that we just changed. So let's change it to 0.5 and then keyframe it. You will see the camera movement is also getting slower than before. So that the speed of the camera would match the speed of the animation. You can make it even slower, 0.2, let's say. So it's like giving the epic feeling, like the, I don't know, like the heroic feeling, something like that. So yeah, you just play around with the time dilation track. play around with the speed, and then also play around with the speed of the animation on the properties. I'll just put this back on 0.5. And then I don't like this one, it's too fast. Yeah, okay, something like that. Something like that is better. And then we don't have the camera shake on this camera because we use the cam shake on the camera number 26. So I'll just add the cam shake over here, cam workshop U that we made before. So it will become more natural because we just add the camera shake. Because previously it was too stiff. Although we made like a 90 degrees movement, but the movement is quite boring. So because we already add the camera shake blueprint, then it becomes more natural. So we have two cameras on this sequencer, right? So what we can do is press Control and scroll the send and restart. Happens sometimes. Don't worry. Sometimes my PC, you guys having the same problem? Sometimes.
Me all the time. Yes. Even if I have a good PC, it happens.
I know, right?
Yes.
When I was still doing virtual production, when it happens in the middle of shooting, I would scream and sometimes I cried.
For yeah, it's very
If I,
frustrating.
yeah, if I haven't saved it, then well, what was the sequencer name again? Someone remember?
Mm,
Oh, this one. This one, I found it. Okay, so it was camera number 26. So it's okay. Yep. Thank God I already saved before it crashed. Okay, so I added the camera shake blueprint again, so it would look more natural. I will click save. Okay. Now we have two cameras in one sequencer. So we can drag this one. Let's say 168 divided into 24. 1 second. So it's 7 second of sequencer. So I want to combine this one, the scene in camera 26 and the scene in camera 27 in one sequencer. So this one is already CineCamera Actor number 26. I'll just add camera and then, oh, sorry, drag it here first. Let's say it's too long. Drag it here and then press the plus button and then CineCamera number 27. And then we would have two cameras on the same sequencer. So we can already get the sense of the sorry. So we would already have the sense of the editing like that. And then let's say after this, I want to go back to camera number 26 again. I'll just edit again. So like this. Okay. The camera keeps showing. So we can already have the editing inside of Unreal Engine. You can have the cut-to-cut scenes in Unreal without having to use the software editing software like that. You have to play around with the camera rig rail, and then you have to play around with the keyframe, the focus, the lens, the lighting, everything, the cut to cut. But this is just the basic knowledge of what you can explore more. Right. Okay. And then if you want, have you guys learned about rendering? Elena, have they learned rendering?
We have done a theoretical intro, but not like an actual demonstration. So I showed like the render queue and what the theory behind it, and how to render with the movie scene capture, and the possibilities of render movie queue, but not execute the render.
Okay. It will take quite long to render, so I will just explain what should we do on movie render queue, but I won't render it. So press this one, the render movie thing, and then click the unsafe config. I usually delete the JPEG sequence and then change it to PNG sequence. If you want something with more higher quality, you can use the EXR sequence, but PNG sequence is already good enough. And then anti-aliasing, it also depends on your PC. Depends on what are you trying to achieve. Are you making a scene in outdoor or in indoors with lots of lightings, with less lightings? It depends. So anti-aliasing would depends on the scene that you are trying to render. But I'll just use 1.8.1. I just want to show that if like this, if you change this one into 8, you would see this warning over here. You just have to click the override anti-aliasing, and then it will gone. So everything here is normally the multiple of 8. So 8, 16, 32, 64, 128. So it's multiple of 8. So I would just use 8, and then I will click the override anti-aliasing. And then click the color output, and then click the disable tone curve. Because what you see in Unreal, and then with what you render at the end, sometimes it's different. And then if you are going to edit it on the editing software, if you are trying to color grade it on editing softwares at the end, then it would be the same if you are doing a movie production. Usually at the end, you have to render it in the raw color, in normal color. So if you render it without disabling the tone curve, then you would have a very strong color. So we just use this disable tone curve. So you would get the raw color at the end, and then you can export it to I don't know, DaVinci Resolve or After Effect or Premiere or any other software, Final Cut Pro. You can change the color. You can adjust the color, and then this one, console variables. This is also depends on the scene that you are trying to render. Is it indoor, outdoor, night scene, day scene? It depends. But one console variables that I really like is this one. sorry. Force LOD. R force LOD. And then put it to 0. I always use these console variables in any scenes that I'm trying to render, because this is actually the same with this one, with output log, with the console command, sorry, with the console command. If I type R force LOD, I can also do it on the scene, on the project. But if I do it on the project, then the project would become very heavy, because every object in the scene would have 0 LODs, and it would make the project really heavy. So I normally just use the force LOD when I'm about to render the scene, so that the LOD so everything with the 0 LOD only in the rendered scene. I really like this console variable, and then you can add more. The rest, it depends on the scenes again. And then the output, 1K, 2K, 3K, 4K. I forgot. My PC can render up to 8K, 16K is fine. So I normally render something, the least resolution that I would render my scene is 4K, because my PC can handle 8K and 16K and even higher. So I normally render it with 4K. And then these 3 dots where you want to save your rendered project, let's say here, and then make new folder. Select folder and then accept. And then after you finish setting up all the configuration, you can actually save it if you want. So if you want to use the same configuration for other scenes, you can just save it, save as preset. And then name it, let's say Wukong reset, and then save. So this preset would be the Wukong preset. Next time you have the similar scenes, or next time you want to render other scenes on this project, you can use the same preset again. Just use the Wukong preset. And then click accept. And click render local. Do not click the render remote, because this would require another pipeline. So just click render local, and then you would render it. And the duration of rendering, it depends on the PC, depends on the scenes, but yeah, just click the render local. I will close it now because I won't render it. It would take too long. Then I will save. So yeah. Oh, one more thing. Post-processing. I should have talked about this before I talk about rendering, but because I wasn't gonna render it, so I can go back to post-processing. So with post-processing, see the difference if I turn it off, the post-processing. I'm not sure if you guys can see it or not, but if I turn it off, it will be a bit pale. It would be a bit too white, too bright. So I already have my settings on the post-processing. And then when you add post-processing, you can go to place actor here, and then post-process volume, this one. If you are adding the post-process volume, you would see a box like this. See, when I click it, this box is the post-process volume. But because I already have my process volume over here, then we can delete this one. I just want to show you the box, the shape of the post-process volume. This one, the shape is a box and it's small. It's a small box, but you can make it bigger. This, if you want to have post-process volume in different, let's say you have a one project, one big map, and then you want to have a different PPV in one scene. Let's say you want to have 4 to 5 PPV. So you can just change it per area, or you can just have one processing volume, and then everything that any changes that you make on the PPV will affect the whole project. So if you just want to have one, then on the PPV, you have to turn on the unbound infinite extend. You have to turn it on. If you don't turn it on, that means everything, any changes that you make, it will just only happen in this small box. Just this area in this small box. But if you have turned it on, then the whole map will get affected when you make any changes. And then this is the bloom that I mentioned. If you want to have the Korean look, you can change it. So normally, I'll go back to sequencer. Normally, the default is 0.675, but if you change it to 5, see, it's getting more dreamy look like Korean movie. I will go higher to 10. It won't change the lighting, the color, anything. It won't change anything. It will just giving this dreamy look. So I will put it back to 0.675. I won't change the bloom. And then when you just insert the PPV, this one would have random number. Maybe like this. I'm not sure. I forgot. Okay, Katrina, you have to go. Okay, bye. Thank you. Elena will have the recording so you can watch it later. Thank you
Yes,
so
yes.
much.
Yes. Yes, Katarina, bye.
Bye. And then you can change this one. Always have the same number on the minimum and on the maximum. Always have the same number. So 1, 1, and then play around with the exposure. Mine was 2.3. You can play around on the exposure, and then the chromatic aberration that I mentioned in the presentation earlier that I couldn't explain, I will just show you. See, you would give the glitch look. This is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 10. It would give you like I would be dizzy if I have to look at this kind of visual for a long time. It would give you the effect of like using an LSD or something. So yeah, don't put it too much. I'll just put it back to 0. And then you can also add lens flare over here. Oh, there's no. So if you want to add lens flare, then you have to put the lighting towards the camera. Then you would have the effect of lens flare. Otherwise, there's nothing. If you don't, if the camera, if the sun is not facing the camera, then the lens flare effect won't show up. And then the most important thing is color grading. Oh, this is the film. Just these two. These two are the most important thing if you want to playing around. You don't have to play around with the shoulder, black clip, white clip. Just if you want to play around, just play around with the slope and toe. This one. I'm not sure if you guys can see it or not, but play around with slope and toe. And then vignette. See, if I put it higher or put it into 2, 1, 0. So the default is 0.4 to give that sort of cinematic feeling. So Unreal already put the default 0.4. If we change it to 0, then it would be very clear. No black thing whatsoever on the side, but you can always play around with the vignette. I'll just put it back to 0.4.